everybody, it's Kristen here, sports dietitian, certified personal trainer, and founder of Elite Nutrition Performance. And today we're going to be talking about intuitive eating unleashed, so empowering athletes to trust their bodies. And if you struggle with trusting your body, you're definitely going to want to listen to today's episode. So there are 10 principles of intuitive eating. If you're not familiar with intuitive eating, I've done some episodes on this in the past, and I would highly suggest going back and listening to those episodes. But there's a book that I like to use with my clients, which is called the Intuitive Eating Workbook. So there's 10 principles in this book. There's also a book that goes along with it, but I really like the workbook because the workbook includes some a little bit of reading plus, some activity that you would go along with your reading. So you answer some questions, and it really just helps you to kind of like think through some things, and it helps you to realize like, oh, wow, that's why I think the way I do, or this is why I do the things that I do. So let's quickly just go through what those 10 principles are for intuitive eating. So number 1 is rejecting the diet mentality. So that's just letting go of the belief that dieting is the solution to all your problems and your weight is the problem, and recognizing that long-term dieting is actually harmful for your body and it's not going to be beneficial for you. Number 2 is actually honoring your hunger. So listening to your body and eating when you're hungry, not ignoring that you are hungry or denying that you're hungry. Number 3 is making peace with food. So allowing yourself to eat foods without feeling guilty about eating them. Also, number 4 is challenging the food police. So just recognizing that there are going to be negative thoughts and beliefs about certain foods, but letting those go and just knowing that there are no foods that are off limits or are bad, that all foods can fit into a healthy, balanced diet. Number 5 is feeling your fullness. So paying attention to your fullness or satiety signals and obeying those, not just eating to the point of like feeling, sick or whatever. Number 6 is satisfaction. Discover the satisfaction factor. So just getting satisfaction out of your food is huge. And I think a lot of people don't do this. So we're going to talk about how to do that in just a minute. But enjoying your meals and not feeling guilty while you're eating them. Number 7 is coping with your emotions and not using food to cope with your emotions. So developing alternative strategies to deal with those emotions like stress or boredom or sadness or even happiness. Number 8 is respecting your body. So accept and appreciate your body for what it is and focusing on health and well-being rather than focusing on some unrealistic ideal that you might see on Instagram or wishing you once looked like you once did, or whatever you can think of. Number 9 is exercising, and as athletes, of course, we're going to be exercising, but not exercising to excess where we feel like, okay, we have to exercise in order to earn our food. We don't need to exercise to earn our food, but certainly exercising, for our sport and to train for our sport, but then also exercising for health and wellness and to feel good. The last one is to honor your health with gentle nutrition. So that's mostly what we're going to talk about today. So making these food choices that honor your health and your well-being, and doing that with flexibility and aiming for balance rather than just this perfection ideal that you have of thinking, oh, I need to eat clean or I need to eat a certain way in order for that, my diet to actually be good. So we're also going to dive into a little bit of self-awareness. So let's talk about that now. So self-awareness is really kind of getting into your body's, or tuning into your body's signals. And I think a lot of people have not really tuned into their body signals very well. You, as a baby, were very much in tune with your body signals. So think about this. When there's a baby, the baby knows when it's hungry, and it's going to scream and cry because it's hungry. As soon as you give it milk, it's going to drink that milk, and it's going to eat or drink until it is full and satisfied. And then it's going to spit out the bottle or the boob or whatever it has, whatever it's delivering that source of milk. It's going to stop. It's going to stop when it's done. It's not going to just gorge itself and continue eating. And so that's because the baby has a lot of self-awareness. So this is something as we get older, we tend to lose because we're just, going about our day, we're doing other things, we're not really paying attention to how our bodies are feeling. And this doesn't just go back to food, it goes back to a lot of things. It could be when I drink caffeine, I feel very jittery after and I don't feel good. Or when I do this certain type of exercise, I don't feel good afterwards, so maybe I shouldn't do that. That type of thing. So I would really encourage you to start listening to your body and really getting in tune with your body and being more self-aware. And one of the ways that you could do this is to keep a journal. You can keep a food journal. You can note how you feel before and after your meals, how hungry you were before, how full you were after you ate that meal. How did you feel about the meal? Did the meal make you feel good or not feel good? All those types of things. And then you can also just do like a journal entry for the entire day of like, how did I do on this day? How did I feel during this day? Did I feel good or not feel good? What was different about this day? And how could I repeat a good day so that I'm having more good days? And this could also go back to, some things like sleep and, hydration, so on and so forth. So let's talk about mindful eating during meals and how you can do that. So this is something where it's going to help you to become more self-aware when you're practicing mindful eating. And the way that you can do that is eating without distraction as much as humanly possible, which I understand if you're eating with your teammates or you're eating in a cafeteria or you are running between classes or you have just a little bit of time between meetings if you're working, you're not really going to be practicing this and it's going to be very hard to. But the times that you can, like if you are at home eating dinner or breakfast or things along those lines, what I would encourage you to do is not sit in front of your computer or your phone or some other screen like the TV, but sit with just your food. It's going to be very boring, I guarantee you, but that's okay. You're going to sit with just your food and you're just going to pay attention to your food. So you're going to look at your food. What does the food actually look like? What does it smell like? What does it feel like when it gets into your mouth? When you chew it, what does that feel like? How about when you swallow it? What does that feel like? And then as you're eating, you're going to check in with yourself. Okay, am I hungry still? Let's keep eating. Or am I nearing fullness? Okay, let's slow down. And then once you feel full, then you can stop. But as you're thinking about that meal or while you're eating that meal, think about how the food tastes. Does it taste good? Does it taste bad? If it tastes bad, why are you still eating it? If it tastes good, okay, great. What do you like about it? And this really helps you to get in tune with yourself. And that is the first step to intuitive eating. It is really promoting mindfulness during your meals and savoring each bite and enjoying it and just paying attention to all the different flavors and textures of your food. So we also want to make sure that we are incorporating variety and balance into our meals. We don't want to just eat the same foods over and over again. And this is where the practice of gentle nutrition comes in. So we have talked about balancing your plate as an athlete. So based off of your activity level, your carbohydrates and your fat needs are going to increase, and your protein is always going to be a quarter of your plate. You still need some fruit. You need some form of hydration at every meal and snack. But here's where gentle nutrition comes in. So we know that we have that framework, but what do you actually want to eat within that framework? So if you don't want chicken for your meal, then don't eat chicken. You can have beef, you can have pork, you can have turkey, you can have fish. There's lots of different options. If you don't want pasta, you can have rice, you can have potatoes, you can have sweet potatoes. Again, lots of different options. So eating what you actually want and not feeling like, oh my gosh, I can't have that. If you go to a fast food restaurant and you're going to have a burger and fries, but you're thinking, oh my gosh, I didn't have any vegetables, what can I do? Well, then maybe you skip the fries for that meal and now you have a salad on the side. But you are still getting in carbohydrates on your bun and you're still getting in your protein from your burger. And now you're getting in vegetables from your salad and you have some fats from your dressing on the salad. You get the idea. So you're basically picking and choosing what you want and what actually makes you feel good and not eating things that really you don't enjoy or don't make you feel good. And that's the practice of gentle nutrition. And that's where this comes in for an athlete. So an athlete requires more food than somebody that is sedentary. So you're going to have to make this choice a little bit more. But if you know that framework of the balanced plates, then you can, like I said, just kind of fill in the gaps of what you want and not have to worry about feeling like I can't have, you know, I don't know, a piece of cake later, or I can't have that pizza with dinner, or whatever the case is. You can fill in those blanks. Also, we're going to focus on performance and not our weight. If you are focusing on your weight, you're really going to be kind of shooting yourself in the foot, because I've seen this so many times where clients contact me and they're like, yeah, I want to get better at my sport, but I also want to lose 5 pounds. And they forget about their goal of getting better at their sport, and they're just focusing on losing the 5 pounds. And when you're focusing on losing the 5 pounds, now you're thinking about how can I restrict, or how can I cut out certain foods or eat less so that I can lose those 5 pounds. But when you are eating less, that's not necessarily helping your performance. Now, if you were morbidly obese, then okay, sure, losing some weight might help your performance. But research actually shows that losing weight really generally does not help people with their performance. So having this idea that you have to be at a certain weight to perform better is actually really not valid. Like I said, unless you're morbidly obese, but I would seriously doubt that is the case. So shifting your focus to more eating or fueling your body for performance and not focusing on your weight would be the ideal way to go about this. And then once you're giving your body what it needs, your body's going to be doing what it should be doing, and it's going to actually, like, all systems are going to work a lot better. And then the weight will come off if you need to lose body fat. So last thing that we want to talk about in here is addressing food guilt and anxiety. So this can be a very common thing where you feel like I can't have a certain food, and I feel like I feel so guilty if I were to eat something that I can't have. And that is a problem, because now you are giving power to food. Food does not have power, but when you make it so that you can't, or you feel like you can't have something, now you're giving that food power, and it creates this power over you, and now you start to feel guilty about it. And then what happens is you want it even more and more and more, and it just becomes this like obsession, and it starts to take over your day and your life. So that goes back to getting rid of the food police and letting go of that diet mentality. We want to let go of that and really remind ourselves that there is no bad food. There's no food that's off limits. And if you listen to your body and fuel it the way it needs, like, you know, you're eating when you're hungry and stopping when you're full, and you're eating within those balanced plates, your body will do what it needs to do, and it's not going to go haywire like you might expect that it would. So what I would encourage you to do is follow these 3 P's, which is prayer, patience, and practice. So what that means is if you are struggling with this, just say a simple prayer before your meal. If that's not your thing, then maybe you're just taking a couple of deep breaths before your meal, and you are just allowing your brain and your body to just kind of calm down a little bit. Also, patience. It takes time for all of these things to work out in your favor, and also to make these changes. It's not going to happen overnight. And especially with intuitive eating, it's like a skill that you have to learn over again, because most people have not been following this for many years. So just be patient with yourself and practice it over and over again. If you feel like, oh, I really screwed up, I overate at that meal, or I didn't eat enough, so what? Move on, and you just pick up and do it all over again. I really hope that these tips have helped you today. They have helped me tremendously over the years. And if you feel like you're struggling with this, I highly encourage you to visit my website and sign up for a free, no obligation consultation, which is just a time for us to chat and figure out where you stand with everything, where you're struggling, and then I can explain how I can help you work past all that, and then we can get everything set up for you. So just go to elitenutritionandperformance.com/consult, and you can schedule that consultation. And thank you for watching, and thank you for listening. I really enjoy having you here. And if you are listening on my episode, or on my podcast rather, please leave me a review. I would really appreciate it. It would mean the world to me, and I would love to hear from you guys. Same thing with if you are on the Facebook group. Thanks for watching. Have a good rest of your day.